Sorry to be running a wee bit late tonight. We had a bit of difficulty with some of our participants tonight. I hope that you're holding up well, and I hope that these difficult times aren't taking too much of a toll on you. Let's relax for an hour or two for a little bit of whiskey time. See you in a second. Hello, whiskey folk. Thank you all so much for your patience. We're running a wee bit late tonight, just getting the tech check and background work done for the little kind of game show section, the new thing that we've introduced, but we're just getting a couple of things up together. It's always worth doing these wee tech checks beforehand and just making sure everybody knows why they're here and what they're doing and things. I apologise for being a wee bit late. Thanks very much for waiting. If you're picking this up on the replay, thank you so much as well. So many of you are even picking up these kind of more laid back Sunday evening sessions, these extended openings on the replay as well. And I'm very, very grateful for those that do. Of course, it's different from the Thursday vPub. These Sunday night things are a wee bit more laid back, no structure, but they'll always have the quiz at the end. And we're still enjoying this kind of game show element thing, this Where's My Dram? We're having a lot of fun with that, so I'll bring that to you tonight as well. We've got 4 fantastic guys joining us from Northern Ireland, from the whiskey scene in Northern Ireland. Some of them will be faces that you'll recognise, and other ones it'll be putting faces to names for the first time. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're doing very, very well. Let's jump into the chat quickly and see who's hanging out with us tonight and how you're all doing. Gixer Skipper Luke, always good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing very well. Too Slow is in. Radek is here. Hell's Wood. Richie Z, good to see you, Richie. Andy C, down in East Kilbride. John Paul Vanderhoven as well. It's Jan Paul, isn't it? It's Jan Paul Vanderhoven. Sorry, my friend. Good to see you. Pete Head is here. Superb. Good to see you, Pete Head. Desi Leland is here. Gregor McQuee from Oregon. So good to have you joining, Gregor. I hope you're having a relaxing Sunday afternoon over there. Jim Whiskey Novice is here in the chat as well. He's actually in the background in the green room tonight, and you'll see Jim a wee bit later. Stewie Baby is here. Good to see you, Stewie. Russell Whiskey, Che Francis, Menno's Multi-Mission in Belgium, Corey Martin, Ian Graham, Gino, Anthony as well. Good to see Anthony. Tom Goosens. So Menno and Tom, one of the good things about this game show thing that we've got going is we're able to put a lot of faces to names. And for you guys, it's going to be the first time that you've actually seen these guys appear on screen. So it's kind of a good thing, and just helping build that kind of community aspect a wee bit as well. Anybody is welcome to come on and participate in this little challenge, by the way. Honestly, anyone. Thus far, we've just been doing it by group, you know, and maybe go out club by club, country by country, region, or whatever it may be. We can kind of reach out to friends and bring them in a little groups of 4 or whatever. But even if you don't have like a group or anything, if you're on your own but you're really keen to participate, just send me an email and let me know where you're tuning in from. And as long as you're going to be available for a vPub on a Thursday or a Sunday, anybody's welcome to come along and participate. That's exactly the idea of what it's all about. Skogsmard is here. Good to see you, Skogsmard. Stefan Novak is in as well. Good to see Stefan. Graham Fraser, Graham Horner, Lee Hosey out in Haddington, Simon Ray. Good to have you, Simon. Greg's Whiskey Guide in France. Chat jumps again. Fantastic. Just as I'm speaking, I mentioned Gino, didn't I? Gino, always good to welcome you in, as well as Rico as well. Phil at Causeway Coast Whiskies. He's also in the background, and he'll be joining us in a few minutes. Scott Mills is saying hello, Roy and Barflies, and Penny Keane is saying good morning from New Zealand. Good morning, Penny. How nice to welcome you in. Richard Agnew is asking if Big Al is on too. Yes, Big Al is here waiting in the background. Vicky Thompson is saying evening Agrovite and Barflies, starting the evening with a Deanston Virgin Oak. I am actually having a Glengoyne, but it's one of these driver samples. And I've got a lot of these because when I'm driving people up to Glengoyne, they're the ones that get to enjoy the whiskies, and I get the little driver samples. But I always forget to label them. And I've got quite a few in here that just kind of, these little driver samples that just have a number on them. But you're always guaranteed decent whiskey. You don't really always have to remember what they are. From the colour of this, I'm going to guess this is a 21. Anyway, welcome everybody in Slantia. Cheers. Yeah, tastes in line with the 21 as well. There's going to be a bit of a Glengoyne theme. I've got a bit of a confession to share with you later in the stream, and it's connected with Glengoyne. I purchased something recently that I said that I probably wouldn't, and I gave in. So I'll share that with you, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that a wee bit later as well. But this these Sunday night sessions are a wee bit more about interacting with you guys. So if you've got any questions, anything you want to share, any kind of things that you want to discuss, just make sure that you're making your comment visible to me by writing at Aquavitae, or it seems that if you just write Aquavitae, it's highlighted in orange. I know it's tricky on a mobile device, but I should be able to see it. And you've already worked out, Gregory is saying it, Tom Goosens, and Ian Graham is saying Teapot Dram 7. Absolutely. Alistair Gray is saying he bought it. Yes, I need to explain myself, and I will. I'll explain myself a wee bit later. Donner Pass Whiskey saying, speaking of Glengoyne, any word on the release of Legacy Chapter 2? I don't think they've sold out of Legacy Chapter 1. I think they've still got stock of Chapter 1 on the shelf. I'm not sure. I should have checked when I was buying the Teapot. But I haven't heard of it. I know I haven't heard of any release dates. But you know from, I think it was, when did I hear? It was on a live stream, and Gordon Dundas was on the live stream. So I think it was maybe when he was on with the Scotch for Dummies or something. And I think somebody asked him then, and he said that it's underway. I think I'm recalling that correctly. Pete Head is saying, I'm very fond of the driver's drams, as I'm most of the time riding the bike. There's no drinking at the distilleries for me. Absolutely. Do you know, for a while, when I took my tour at Macallan, when Macallan opened the new distillery, they were not giving driver's drams. I think that's a rare thing. I know they've since changed it, and I know that they're giving driver's drams now. But for that to have not been part of the new distillery was very bizarre to me. I remember it because I was a driver, I think, and it would have smarted a little bit not to be able to have a dram at the distillery, right? And even more so when you couldn't take one away. Gregor is saying, Roy, did you see this Scotch for Dummies had Gordon on from Glengoyne? They used my pointed criticism on the cost. Props for them using my prickly opinion as a fan. Yes, I did catch that, and I did catch your persistent asking of the question, and I'm glad it was picked up. No, it's not because we want to complain about something being too expensive. We want the price explained to us. We want it justified. It's not that, you know, we understand that a whiskey is always going to have to be judged against its peers, what it's competing with. Is it more expensive or is it less expensive? Is it trading on the brand, or is it fully about the quality of the whiskey and it's priced appropriately? What is the situation? But I think what's jarring is when we're used to a certain price on a whiskey and there's a sudden jump. And I think that that's what happened for a few releases over the course of late 2018 throughout the course of 2019. And it made me just start to kind of check my purchasing a little bit and not just go in gung-ho because I knew that I loved the whiskey and I was going to have a nice experience again. I was kind of forcing myself to think about it first. It happened with the rebranding at Balblair. It happened last year with some releases from Deanston and from Bunnahabhain. And it happened with the Teapot Drama jump from 90 to £120. So I'm glad that you asked that, and I'm glad that the guys on the Scotch for Dummies channel posted that to Gordon as well. But Gordon's he's just going to tell you why. He's going to try to explain to the best of his ability why it's that price. And I'm going to talk a wee bit about the Teapot Drama a wee bit later and share my opinion on it. And I'm going to open the batch 7 tonight. I've got a wee drop here of the batch 6 left. I was trying to keep a little bit so I could share the batch 6 as a heel, as a giveaway, the last of the bottle. I might still be able to do that, and we can have a comparison. Somebody in a previous live stream had sent me, I think it was Malcolm Douglas. Malcolm, thanks very much. Some samples of the batch 7. So I've already done on a previous vPub a kind of comparison. but we'll talk a wee bit more about it now that I've bought a bottle for myself. Ian Graham is saying, Coquerin pricing is a refreshing change to buck the trend. Coquerin is by far and away an exception to the rule. All the cast strength Coquerins have been around the £50-55 mark. The 12-year-old is a very good price. The 16-year-old that's coming out this year, I hope it comes soon. Really excited about that. That's probably my most anticipated whiskey. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. I hope I can get my hands on it this year. And I feel confident that it's going to be priced appropriately. Coquerin is fantastic value. All the bourbon cask 8-year-old cast strength came out around the £50 mark. And when that Oloroso matured 2019 release came out, it was at the same price point. But it was just such a fantastic whiskey. If Glengyle had been any more cynical, they could have charged a lot more and we would have been very happy queuing up to buy it just the same as we did. But that's the philosophy of that producer. That's J&A Mitchell. That's how they're putting their whiskey out there. For the most part, once you hit 20 years and over for their products, it does get very expensive, but that's down to just how rare it is, probably. But the core range products is reasonably priced right across the range. The 12-year-old Springbank cast strength, again, £60 or less. Fabulous stuff. And fabulous value. Russell Whiskey is saying, do you know any details about the Coquerin 16? None at all. It was teased on the last lockdown whiskey festival. Ranald come on and teased it, told us that it was true, it was going to be coming out this year, but we'd all just have to be a wee bit more patient. And the current situation that we're going through just now, that's kind of slowed down everything, because it might not necessarily be the producer, it might be stocks of bottling or labelling or whatever it may be, kind of just slows everything down a little bit. So we just need to be a bit more patient. Just the fact that there's going to be a Coquerin 16, I think, is exciting in itself. Jimmy Legg is saying, all the Coquerin is $70 here, $15 more than a JW Black. And he's in Nova Scotia. Jimmy, I think you're in Nova Scotia in Canada. Just goes to show the value. It's incredible. There's a new name in, Sedagiv. Sedagi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, my friend. He's saying, hello, Aquavita, and all from Southern California. We'll have a Glenfarclas 12 later today. Sounds perfect. I appreciate that it's probably a wee bit early for any age of Glenfarclas over in Southern California right now, but you're welcome in here. It's nice to have you. Corey Martin is in as well, saying, what do you think of the famous Grouse 18? I have 2 bottles left, and I dread it when it's gone. I've kind of talked about this at length, Corey. First off, it's an easy answer. The famous Grouse 18 is a really decent whiskey, honestly. And anybody that wants to knock it or give it a hard time, just pour it in a lineup with some malts and mix it up in there. As long as the ABVs and the kind of profile is similar, and then see if you can pick it out. And even if you can pick it out, you would have to admit that the quality is very high. I know what you're talking about. When it's gone, you're going to miss it. But I think it's a decent, I think the Chivas Regal 18 as well is also a very decent whiskey. And when you think about it, the blend should be the pinnacle of what's available. A blender who's really good should be able to go out there and take the very best that's available to him and put it together in a way, as I've said before, that's kind of greater than the sum of its parts. It should be the single malts are a very specific experience. Fantastic single malts, lots of variation, tasting the different elements and things. But a blend should really come together to be something spectacular. I'm not suggesting that Famous Grouse 18 is spectacular by any stretch, but we should be a wee bit more open to embracing, I think, good quality blends and encouraging producers to bring really decent, good quality blends. And let's see if they can do it at a decent price as well. Pete James is saying, cheers, malt mates, from San Francisco, California. Thank you, Pete. As always, you drop in here. You're always very generous and buy me a wee virtual dram as well. Thank you, Pete. It's always nice to welcome you in. Cheers. It's nice to know that you're from San Francisco as well. Richard Agnew is saying Compass Box leading the way on that. I would say so. I have to say, honestly, people are complaining about the prices of Compass Box now. But as I've said before, they're not just kind of charging like. Their core range is still reasonably priced, honestly. It's good quality whiskey. You can always trust that it's going to be solid whiskey, and it's not expensive. Their special releases can be quite pricey, but they're trading on 20 years of building a reputation and gaining our trust. I think you would be very shocked and surprised if you went out and spent any amount of money, reasonable or expensive or otherwise, on a compass box and found it to be something that lets you down. And also, as I said, they've been trading for 20 years now. They've built their brand. There's trust there. Hellswood is saying, really enjoying the Douglas Lane blends at the moment. Yes, I agree. That Timorous Beastie, that 18-year-old Timorous Beastie, the Scallywags, the majority. I have to say that I don't buy and enjoy a lot of the Big Pete. Not because it's bad. It's very, very good. But when I'm sipping Islay whiskies, I like to try and dial into the individual distilleries. And if I'm just looking for a peat hit, I can get that through the single malt. But there's some lovely the rock oyster, as it's called now. I think it's called the island oyster or something, isn't it? And the Highland Timorous Beastie, the Scallywag from Speyside. I think they are decent blends as well. These are blended malts, as is the majority of the Compass Box products as well. Rombout is in from Holland, or is it the Netherlands? Sorry, Rombout. He's saying, so tired, so just listening mostly. That's okay. Probably I'll send you off to sleep, Rombout. So maybe before your working week you could do with a wee early Sunday night, and I appreciate you're an hour ahead as well. Spiritworks Thomas saying, evening, Roy. I just came straight from our NWA meeting. That's the Nottingham Whiskey Association. They've just been founded from a community of guys that have met up in this chat and the channel, and I think that's very, very cool. It's just a shame that it's these times and they can't meet in real life. A little bit similar to my guests tonight. I reached out to Jim Ingram, Whiskey Novice over in Northern Ireland, and asked if he would want to, or he perhaps may have approached me to ask how you can participate. He liked the idea of this new kind of game show challenge thing. And I suggested that he hook up with 4 of his buddies over there in Northern Ireland and come on and have a little kind of Northern Ireland contingent participate. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that just now, I think. I've kind of decided that I'm going to go and I'm going to get a glass topper made so that there can be an exclusive prize that I give away to people who participate in this thing, just as a wee thank you. And the good thing about that is it doesn't matter where you live. This will go as a large letter in an envelope, and we're not worried about sending whiskey across borders or getting ourselves into trouble. So I think that's a better way of doing it. Robert Primo has bought me a dram and said, you sold me on the Malbec Longrow Red 13. That's going back to 2016, I think, Robert. I mean, that was a cracker. But where do I go from here, Roy? Well, the other yes, go straight ahead and trust in the other Longrow Reds. The Malbec always had that edge to me, but I think that's got a lot to do with nostalgia. And the Longrow Malbec was the wine finished whiskey that made me realize that wine finishes, when done well on a good spirit, can be great. And now I'm quite happy buying Longrow Reds. I'll always have a special spot there for the Malbec. I still have one sealed bottle left. It's over my shoulder here. It was a gift to me, actually. I actually got 2. One's finished. I got one from Jay and one from Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies, Jay Chung. But he's saying, will the other Longrow Reds be half as good? Thanks for pulling another Sunday shift. Robert, you're very welcome, and thank you very much for your dram. But go right ahead and confidently. Like I say, usually, especially out in the States, Longrow Reds are very decent value as well. Cheers, Robert. Nice to welcome you in again. Let's get this wee game show thing up and running and reach out to our friends from over Northern Ireland. There's no need for me to explain the dynamics of this, because if you've not seen it before, just by witnessing it, you'll pick it up quite quickly. It's quite obvious. I'm going to bring in my friend Jim Ingram, Whiskey Novice. Give me a thumbs up, Jim, if you're comfortable and in good shape. He is. Nice to see you, my friend. Nice to see you.
Good evening, Roy.
How are you?
I'm the very best.
I like the attire tonight. Thank you very much.
I had to, didn't I?
You're a superstar. Thanks, Jim. Thanks so much. Obviously, anybody that doesn't know Jim, he's run his own channel over there in Northern Ireland. It's called Whiskey Novice. There's no doubt that you've happened across his content. There's a particular Kilkerran review that he did that him and I did a wee tongue-in-cheek collaboration. I had a lot of fun doing that, Jim. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, it was good crack.
And I like what you're doing there. I like that kind of collaborative thing that you're doing. You're calling it sharing the love, and you're reaching out to other creators to ask them to consider doing intros and outros for you. I think it's good fun. Excellent. Are you ready to play What's My Dram?
Yes and no, yes.
Can I bounce something off you first?
Go ahead.
I still don't like the name What's My Dram. I did a poll on Patreon, and there was about 10 options, and What's My Dram won it by a decent margin, I have to say. So that's the name's the name. But there's another name that I come up with today, and it wasn't even an option on the poll, and I think it's so obvious. And when I talk about things, being called a certain thing because of the culture of the community, because it's been suggested, or it's just a common thing that often just is repeated.
Yes.
What's the first question that everybody seems to ask, especially me, when we're playing this game? Is it a Speyside? I think that kind of smacks as a better name for the game. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, actually, because I was thinking about that myself.
Is it a Speyside? Yeah.
I like that.
So it's just kind of a wee bit tongue-in-cheek. It's very about the format and things. So I think we might consider that. I'll put it out to the community and see what they think. Rename it, Spirit Horse Tom is saying. Jean de la Cuisine is saying, I like that actually. And Rico is saying, go for the name. That's great. I like it. There you go. Maybe this will be called Is It a Speyside? And the reason we open with that is that with 50 to 60 Speyside distilleries, you pretty much cut your options in half with the very first question. It's a good way to go. Jim, let me ask you, are you asking or answering tonight?
I am asking.
You're asking?
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for stepping up. Having said that, I mean, it seems to have been, you think that asking is the more difficult option. Let's see how it plays out. I'm always very grateful when somebody asks. So that needs me to have a core range bottle on hand, of which I have one. Here we go. I'll just make sure that's not in shot. I've put it here, Jim. It's the only bottle that's on my desk. I can't cheat you.
I've been trying this out, and the wife, she's been picking bottles out of mine and I've been asking her questions, and I'd probably still blow this completely, but we'll try.
So you've been practicing. Well, let's see if the practice is going to pay off. So you've got 3 minutes on the clock here. You've got 10 questions. I can only answer yes or no. Good luck, my friend. I'll start now. Ask away.
If you imagine a line running right down through the middle of Scotland, probably round about Loch Lomond, straight top to bottom.
Right.
Is it east of that?
Oh my God. I've got a map of Scotland in front of me. Let me see. Jim, you need to ask another question. Does that tell you?
So it's probably around, right, okay. Is it Speyside?
Yes.
Ah, crap. I was hoping it wasn't Speyside. Is it a glen?
No.
Okay. Has it got an age statement?
Yes.
Right. Is it one of the big ones, as in Diageo, that sort of?
One of the big four, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Edrington, or William Grant's? No.
Right. That makes the list even bigger. Sorry, I'm just doing tally marks as I go along.
You've got a cheat sheet, and I don't blame you for it. Don't worry about it.
Just tally marks. Is it north? Well, I'm going to test you. Is it north of the River Spey?
Yes.
Right. That helps a bit. Or does it? How many is that? I've asked 6. Yeah.
Yep. Lots of time, Jim. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a smaller producer. We're looking at an age statement. It's not a Glen.
It's not a Glen. It's not one of the big four. I'm going to start throwing out names just and try.
You've not asked anything about ABV.
Honestly, I don't think it would make a lot of difference to me.
Okay, no problem. Sure.
All right, then. Is it 46% or higher?
It is less.
It's less.
It's 46 or less.
Right. And it has an age statement, you said.
20 seconds, Jim, but don't swear it. I'll give you a wee bit extra time. Just want to add to that pressure.
Knock and do.
Knock and do? No.
No. Right. Craggin Moore.
No. It has been on before. Go on, Jim. It has been on before.
Tormore.
No.
No.
Give us a last. Go on, snipe it. You would have to give me the distillery and the age and to get the expression.
Benriach.
Sorry?
Benriach.
No, but close. That's why I had to ask. Benromac. Benromac 15.
No, I wouldn't have got it.
So it's Benromac. It's just up. It's kind of northwest of the Speyside region. So I think if you drew a line right through the middle of Scotland, there's some people out there going to say yes, left or right, but it's pretty ambiguous. So that when you started off on that one, it was kind of tricky.
Yeah.
I would say it was probably just a wee bit to the east of that, but
I was thinking more along the lines that everything east of this line is Speyside and still sort of Highland, and then but Speyside's always a tester for me because I'm still sort of.
I have to say it's a nest of distilleries, isn't it? So it's tough to kind of fathom. Is it Rothes, Elgin? Where is it? Dufton? Where in Speyside is it? And I have to say this is a good exercise for me because I'm not very good at that unless I've seen it or been there. And so if it's ones that I haven't seen, I'm less sure of. Absolutely, I get what you're coming from. But the first question that you opened with, I tried to help you a wee bit there by saying, no, it's kind of dead in the middle. Jim, unlucky, my friend. Whoever got Benromac 15 first, if you know them, if you're comfortable to send them out a wee dram, then do that. And if there's any difficulty at all, Jim, leave it to me.
At all, my friend.
And thank you for swinging by and hanging out with us for a wee bit. Please stay till the end if you're comfortable, okay?
Well do, Roy. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Jim. Thank you. Unlucky for Jim. I didn't mean to catch him out. Benromac 15. I got hit with a Benromac last week. And I was very, very lucky to pick it out. Let's go to Jim's partner in crime. He's also on YouTube as well. He's got his own channel. It's Alan McVeigh. I'm going to get a wee thumbs up from Alan if he's good to come in. He's good to come in. Good to see you, my friend. Can you hear me? I've lost your audio for some reason. I think you're muted. Just check, tap on your screen, unmute yourself. No, not getting you yet. Now, we did a tech check before we went and it was clear as a bell. No, still not hearing you, buddy. He's dropped out. He'll come back in again. So that means that we can skip ahead to Phil. Give me your thumb, Phil, if you're ready. Good man. Good man. Now, not a lot of you I'll see Phil's face. This is Phil. This is Causeway Coast Whiskey. You'll probably see Phil lurking on Instagram and a wee bit on Twitter as well, Phil, right?
Yeah, pretty busy on Twitter at times, actually.
But we'll interact with you more often if you're putting out content through Malt Review.
That's right.
Right. Contributor to Malt Review. Fantastic to welcome you into a vPub, Phil. You and I have had the pleasure to meet up in real life as well. And I know it's going to be a wee while before that happens again. I'm looking forward to the next time. Are you ready for a wee game of, is it a Speyside?
Yes. Crack on, good sir.
Are you asking, Phil, or are you answering?
I'll let you ask this time, Roy.
Okay, so you're I've got to ask you, no problem at all. So
Yep.
I'll set my timer to 3 minutes. I'll pull in our countdown here, and I'll wish myself good luck. Start. Okay, Phil, is it a Speyside?
It is, Roy.
It is a Speyside. Okay. Is it a Glen?
Yes.
Oh, it's a Glen Speyside. Is it one of the big four? By the big four, I mean, is it Diageo? It's not going to be Edrington, is it? Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Edrington, or Grants?
No.
No, it's a different one. It's maybe a smaller producer. Okay. Okay, it's a Glen. Is the ABV 46 or less?
It is, yes, 46.
And is there an age statement?
There is.
An age statement, 46
Yes.
or less. It's a Glen. And you're absolutely sure it's a Speyside, right?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, my mind was drifting to Glendronach 12, which is a 43% expression. But if it's Speyside, I've got a map in front of me, but it doesn't help me because it's just got numbers where the distilleries are. So I need to kind of go Glen. So if it Glen Talkers would be Pernod Ricard. Oh. Is it Glenallachie?
It is not, no.
Oh, Glenallachie.
Actually, I've just made a foolish mistake because it's not actually. Well, it'll depend. This is one of these ones that's confusing, Roy, because
Don't worry.
they say that they are from Speyside, so maybe that's going to give you a clue. But on their label, it is a bit confusing.
Okay. Is it Glenfarclas?
It is.
Is it 15 years or younger?
It is 15 years.
Is it Glenfarclas 15?
It is, yeah.
You give me a huge clue there, Phil.
Yeah. Well,
you pulled me out of a muddy canal, I have to tell you. And tell me, is that 46%? That one it is, isn't it?
it is 46, yeah. It's one of my favourites, actually. The 15 and the 17 are probably my two favourite expressions out of Glenfarclas.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that, on their label, I mean, they have Glenfarclas Distillery Speyside, but then they class themselves as a Highland malt. As well.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those kind of strange ones, I think.
Absolutely. Speyside distilleries are permitted to put Highland on the label if they want to. They are absolutely. Speyside is in the Highlands. And Glenfarclas is one of the ones that's known for displaying that. So when you said, when you start to talk about the labeling, and we knew that it wasn't one of the big four, that it was one of the smaller ones, then it's just, you gave me a huge, huge help there.
Well,
thank you, my friend. I owe you one.
No problem.
Are you willing to share a dram with whoever in the crowd picked Glenfarclas 15 first?
No problem at all. Yep.
If you have any trouble with it, Phil, shout out to me and I'll take care of it for you, okay?
No
and are
problem.
you hanging around till the end, my friend?
I will be here until the end, yes, definitely, right.
Thanks for participating. Cheers, Phil. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Okay, let's reach out to Paul. Paul Kane, give me a thumbs up, my friend, if you're in good shape. He is. He's great. Paul, nice to welcome you to the vPub. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much, sir. I feel like an imposter. I don't have that Irish accent. I just feel like
right. You're a wee bit quiet to me. I wonder if your mic has changed since before we went live. You were nice and loud earlier.
Hold on, is that better?
Oh, there we go. Magic. Superb.
Super. No, I just feel like an imposter because I don't have the Irish accent, so I just feel like a fraud.
Well, what you're doing is you're representing Northern Ireland tonight. I know that you're a local. You're from just south of Glasgow, but tell me, you're also very, very active in the Belfast Whiskey Club. You want to give your club a bit of a plug? Tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, I run the Whiskey Club. Been doing it for the last 5 years. I also run Belfast Whiskey Week, which hopefully is going to become the largest Irish whiskey festival in the world.
Wow.
Last year it was huge. We had what did we have? We had 18 events over 10 days. It was great. So this year was meant to be 21 days, 21 events over 7 days, but obviously coronavirus has messed that up completely. So we're going online. We're doing an online festival. So it was a bit of fun. But yeah, the club's great.
One of my favourite cities on this planet is Belfast.
Oh, you better come back soon then.
If you're having a whiskey festival out there, it sounds like it's not that far for me to travel. There's a wee bit of water in the way, but it's not far.
No, I think you should most definitely come. 100%.
Yes.
So back end of July, very end of July, we're due to have that festival now. But we've opened up to the rest of the world to come and get involved online. Do as much of the tastings online as possible just now. So yeah.
Okay.
But great fun.
I look forward to hearing more about that, because if it's something I can get involved in, Paul, I'm sure it would be great fun. And good luck to you. I hope that whatever you're able to achieve in July, I hope it goes well for you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Play a wee game of what we're now calling "Is It a Space Side?"
Mate, do you know that's the best? It's the best game show name ever. Is it a space side? And here I got really confused, because when you did the first one with Jim, I was like, how many bottles is he going to have tonight? So I'm not going to ask you the questions. I'm going to let you ask me the questions. I had to run about finding bottles. So I'm going to pick one out of the bottles I picked, and you can guess. You can guess away.
No problem at all. Let's see what we can do. All I'm going to ask you, Paul, is that it's core range. It's available everywhere. We would recognise it, and the details about it. You know who it's from and all that kind of thing.
Oh,
okay. Excellent. Good luck to me then, and I'll start the timer. I've got 3 minutes on the clock now, and I'm going to ask, obviously, is it a space side?
If you want it to be a space side, I'm sorry, it's not a space side.
It's not a space side. Is it a Highland, Paul?
It is most certainly not a Highland.
Okay. Is it an Isla?
Oh, we're flying here. All right. No, it's not an Isla.
Oh my God. You're definitely bringing Scotch to the party tonight. Okay. Is it a Campbelltown?
Oh, it's most certainly a Campbelltown.
Campbelltown. Okay. Okay. Is it from Springbank Distillery?
You are on the money. It's a Springbank Distillery bottle that I've managed to pick up. Yeah.
Okay. Is it? Well, they do three. They do Hazelburn, they do Springbank, and they do Long Row. Let's just ask if it's a Long Row. Is it a Long Row?
Oh, I love a Long Row. No, this one is not a Long Row, but massive fan of all those finishes so far. Great stuff.
Is it Hazelburn?
No, it's not Hazelburn. No,
oh my God.
No, son.
Okay, so we're in Springbank. I'm going to just ask then.
Go ahead. Have you got the balls? Huh?
I'm going to say, is it 15 years or younger?
Oh, right. This is younger than 15 years.
Wow. Is it the 12 cask strength?
Oh my God! How did you not know? No, it's not the 12 cask strength.
What are you doing? Right, I've got this in a Hurley. You're familiar with what a Hurley has been from where you are, Paul, right?
Oh, I know what a Hurley is.
Right, okay, so here we go. Is it the Springbank 10?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, look at it as well. Let's get this off the screen. Look at that for a Springbank 10.
Can we see that?
Now that's early 2000s, maybe late 90s. When's that from, Paul?
Yeah, so late 90s, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was finding that you know, as soon as you said make sure you have a bottle at hand, I went, I need to go find bottles. Core range. I know the 10-year-old's still core range, 46%. Had a couple of these lying about. I nearly. That's the only core range Scotch I have sitting about, because the rest of it's like, you know, random. What's that, like the Mortlack? You know, it's like a random Wolfburn. You know, that was the only core range. You know, and I thought, you know, everything else is unique, That was the only thing I had, which was core range.
You did well pulling it out, and it's kind of nice to see that bottle as well. It's still sealed, isn't it?
Still sealed at the moment, yeah, because I didn't know if I had to drink it. So I was like, do I have to drink this?
No. The only thing I'm going to ask you, though, Paul, and it doesn't need to be that dram, it just needs to be a dram of something that you think would be interesting. Are you willing to share a dram with whoever guessed Springbank 10 first?
If someone guessed that first, I will send them out a phenomenal, but it will be a high-end Irish whiskey for them to taste. No problem at all. Give me the address. Happy to send them some samples. Not a problem at all. Of course.
Fantastic. Paul, I love your energy as well. Superb.
I'm looking forward
to perhaps it'll be Belfast, perhaps it'll be getting you back to Glasgow. But however it happens, and thanks very much for coming in and participating tonight, my friend. Very sporting of you as well.
Thank you. No problem. I'll stay till the end. No sweat.
Thank you, Paul. I hope you do. Fantastic. Relax, and we'll see if we can get Paul back in for the quiz at the end. Excellent. I managed to nick that as well. I managed to steal another one. I have to say, there's no many other places I could go. 12. I suppose it could have been the 15 years or younger. Let's see if we've got audio for our last participant, Whiskey Straight Al. Al, let me see. Can we hear you this time, please? No, we can't hear you. That's bizarre because you were working nice and clear. Why don't you disconnect those buds and we'll just go with it? You're on your phone tonight, so we'll just see if it can work without your Bluetooth buds in. Come on, everybody. We need some positive vibes for Al's audio to work. We need him to be able to participate tonight. Right. Try that, Al. So let's see if we can hear you. Menos Multi-Mission is saying, do mime Aquavite. Al, if you're having any difficulty, just pull a parachute, drop out, and come back in again, and I'll keep an eye on you. We can do this at any time throughout the evening, my friend. Don't worry about it. Eric Waite is saying Bluetooth is notorious for having problems in live streams. Yeah, I know. Daniel managed to do it seamlessly on Thursday night. He had his earbuds in. He ran the whole night on Bluetooth, and I could hear him as clear as anything. And we did a test, and I have to say that Alan was in good shape. How are you doing, my friend? No. Okay, Al. Drop out, buddy. Reconnect again from scratch, and let me see how you get on. Let me see if you do any better. Okay, he's dropped out there. Sometimes it happens. It's live, even when you do the tech check beforehand. You can have these wee issues. People are saying sound on, but I don't think it is. And Peathead is saying, he's asking Menno, how do you mime Speyside? Yeah. Donner Pass, Tim, good to see you. Tim is saying, have you ever heard anything about festival bottles are going to end up in stores? As so many have had to cancel. I have still to hear anything definitive about, and the festivals you'll be talking about is obviously for Shield, the Isle Festival, Campbelltown Festival, Spirit Speyside Festival, which should have been going ahead right about now. I haven't heard anything definitive about these, but you would have to think a lot of these have already been selected, they've already been bottled, they've already been prepared and everything. Al is back in. Give me a thumbs up, Al, if you want to try again. No, I've got a thumb. Now we're getting internet we're getting a blocky Wi-Fi signal now. Al, it's all falling apart, big guy. Come on. Speak.
How's that now?
We can hear you. Good.
Oh, Bluetooth sucks.
Where there's a will, there's a way. We always just kind of chip away and get it here, okay?
Well, that's right. Al, it's a shame it was going so well earlier on.
It was going well. It was going well before, you know. What is it Burns said? The best laid plans of mice and men, right? So let me ask you,
right. But
Al,
you know what? You always save the best to last.
Yeah. You're a wee bit quiet, but as long as people can just about hear. Let me say, Al, you're obviously doing your own content out there. You're a YouTube creator as well over in Northern Ireland. Friends with Jim, the Whiskey Novice as well. What's the name of your channel?
It's Whiskey Straight.
Whiskey Straight. So have you dropped to Al?
Pardon?
I think.
No. It's Whiskey Straight, but I'm just known as Whiskey Straight Al, Big Al. It wasn't actually me that made up the Big Al. It was other people obviously looked at my presence and said, Big Al.
Big Al. And it's whiskey with an E, of course, right?
Oh, of course, Roy. It's the only way.
It's the only way.
It is. We were the first to do it, as Paul and Phil would say.
I think that's a debate for when
Another
we're
day.
perhaps having a quiet dram together, Al.
Oh,
We'll
definitely.
have that debate. What's interesting as well is the Americans use the E for the vast majority of the product that's out there, but the legal definition in the States is without the E. So there you go. I'm going to ask you if you're ready to play. Is it a Speyside?
I'm very ready.
Are you looking forward to it? Good. Let me ask, are you asking or answering tonight?
I'm going to be answering because the time for me to be proved a hero is a wee bit further down the line.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. So for 3 out of 4 tonight, it looks like I'm going to be asking the questions and put in the hot seat. So you've got a core range product at hand, Al, and we're ready to start.
I surely
questions,
do.
right?
Yep.
Okay, my friend, 3 minutes on the timer. I'll pull in this wee countdown, and I'll wish myself again good luck. Okay, Al, is it a Highland?
No.
Is it a Speyside?
No.
Oh dear. Is it an Islay?
Yes.
We're on Islay. Okay. Is it one of the southern 3, the Kildalton coast? So that's Ardbeg, Lagavulin, or Laphroaig?
No.
Okay. Does it start with B?
Yes.
Is it 46% or less?
No.
Now this is core range, so we're above 40. Okay, is it
Yes.
Brookladdy?
Yes.
50% ABV then.
Yes.
Does it say Brookladdy on the? Is it a Brookladdy expression or one of their others?
Yes. It is a Brook Laddie expression.
Is it the classic laddie?
Ah, thought I was going to get you. Yes, it is. Ah. I thought my first appearance on a live stream was going to get you. Well done, mate. Well done.
Oh, I'm very, very grateful. I'm very glad. And it's been very close. It's been in the last couple all night tonight, but I managed to get it. I think once you, it depends on the expression, of course, but once you kind of work out what the best questions are going to be. I mean, if it wasn't going to be Laphroaig, Lagavulin or Ardbeg, that was a whole new one I came up with there. Does it start with a B? Because that's kind of half and half of what's left. You've got Bowmore, Bunnahabhain and Brookladdy, leaving out Colilla. Well, Ardnahoe doesn't have anything, of course, and Kilhoman. So
I really thought I was going to get you there, because when I was watching the last few, it was like, is it a Highland? Is it a Speyside? And it's like, I'll go for Islay. And then my next review is going to be a Deanston 12. And it was like, no, I'm not putting it up until after this, because he'll only guess, but you still got me.
Well, you nearly got me, Al, but I'm very grateful that I managed to sneak it in the end. Are you going to stay around till the end and the quiz at the end, my friend?
Of course I am, mate. Of course I am. And thanks again for the invite, because, you know, I know you reached out to Jim and asked him to get a few friends on, and, you know, he's only got one friend. So thanks for your invite.
No, you're very welcome, my friend. I'm very glad to have welcomed you onto vPub. Please stay till the end, won't you?
I will do. And cheers. Thanks again.
Thanks, Big
Keep up
Al.
the great
Thank you,
work.
big guy. Cheers.
Cheers.
Excellent. We managed to get some audio, and I managed to pick out the classic laddie as well. Very relieved, I have to say. So that's the only time that's happened. Normally I'm having to offer up the prizes, but it's been my guest that's having to offer up the prizes. But I'll keep saying this. If you don't know the person you're sending that whiskey to, if you're a wee bit worried, just reach out to me and I'll take care of it for you. It'll probably be in the shape of a coin that I send out, and it's just for a wee bit of interactive fun as well. The goal of this is not to be winning prizes and things, but it's nice to connect to community. So you might find that you have to reach out to somebody that you're meeting for the first time, and I think that that's another cool little dynamic of the game. I hope you had a wee bit of fun with that. I enjoyed it tonight because I did okay tonight. Fantastic. Megan Miller, good to see you, Megan. She's saying tonight is your night. Kresimir is suggesting I did some warm-ups. All I did is I was working on the quiz today. I have in front of me the map, and it's got the key down here, but it's very small writing. So when I'm looking at this, these are all just numbers. I don't know if that will help me going forward. I didn't actually use it tonight. But yeah, it might be useful in the future. I don't know. But it certainly makes you think about things. It makes you think about the geography of it all, and it makes you think about Speyside, and it lets you kind of structure Speyside in your head a little differently. Dufton and Rothes and Elgin, round about Craigellachie, down where Macallan and obviously Craigellachie itself is, and things. It's just, there are these little clumps of distilleries, these very deliberate things that happened in the evolution of Scotch. All these whiskies exist there for a reason, and doing wee exercises like this makes you start to think about that. Good fun. I'm going to get on and share my uncorking tonight. The thing I'm going to uncork, and this is a bit of a confession for me, because I have gone ahead and bought Glengoyne's Teapot Dram Batch 7. Down here, I think I've got Batch 6, and over here I've got 2 clean glasses. So I'm going to just pour, because I've not got much of this Batch 6. This is destined for the upcoming recycled review, which is going out in a few. I'm hoping to shoot it in a few days. So there'll be a heel going out to somebody of this Batch 6. If I can just pour a wee bit of it, just as a comparison. The first Teapot Dram I tried was, to be honest, I don't remember. I think it was a 2 or a 3 at the distillery, and I remember being blown away by it. But it was at a time I was uncomfortable spending more than £50 on a bottle of whiskey, and I think at that time it was about a £70 bottle. It was just a wee bit north of 50, let's say, going from memory. Then, through time, you spend more time with whiskey, you find yourself spending more money on whiskey, don't you? I'm sure we all kind of have that slippery slope where something, 60, 70 pounds in a bottle of whiskey seemed crazy at one point in the past. But it's a long distant memory for me now, because if I see something is only 60 or 70 pounds, that's literally my thought. Oh, it's only 60 or 70 pounds. It's incredible. If something's less than 100 now, I think, oh, that's not that expensive. It's crazy how I've adapted my thinking and also adapted my spending to be able to buy whiskies of that price. But I think we always need to check ourselves. I was very pleased that Glengoyne kept the Teapot Dram at £90 for, I think, 3 releases in a row. I think 4, 5 and 6 were all £90. And when 6 came out at £90, I was very happy to excitedly share Batch 6 with you on the vPub, and I brought it to you, and we talked about the concept behind Teapot Dram, what it actually was, that it was hand-selected casks, first fill Oloroso, that it was based on trying to recreate something that was representative of a story, the idea of their copper teapot in the canteen that would be filled back in the days of dramming from unwanted drams. And then people could go back later into the canteen later in the day, and they could top up their cup of tea from the drams that were being stored in that copper teapot. So it was a nice backstory, but it was more than that to me. And this is the reason that I finally gave in and bought this thing. Can anybody in this, let's read it here. There's a wee bit of fluff on the front here. It says, until the 1970s, Glengoyne workers enjoyed a thrice daily dram that flowed from a bashed copper teapot in the distillery canteen, recreated by men with a huge recollection of those days. With a vague, sorry, that makes more sense, a vague recollection of those days. Our tribute has swathes of red apples, demerara sugar, and tangy Seville marmalade. Okay. I also believe this to be, it's all Oloroso casks, but it doesn't mention whether it's European oak or American oak, so it's probably a mix of both. But if anybody else can bring me an example of any whiskey, core, batch release, whatever it may be, cask strength, that comes from guaranteed first fill Oloroso casks. And then more than that, it's not just they go in and they vat it and they vat it and they vat it and they keep it running, but they're going to, the batch 6 was long delayed. And they agonize over the casks that they're going to select for this. And sometimes it can take months for them to agree on the casks that they're going to bring together in order to make enough of this. Usually the release is only about 2,500, 3,000 bottles. This one was a wee bit more this time, I think. Yeah, almost 4,000 this time. I think they were using smaller casks for this one, I think, but they're up at almost double figures, maybe 10 casks or something on this one. 3,993. Can anybody think? Glendronach batches. Again, how much would you pay for some of those Glendronach batches? Aberlour is a much bigger vatting. It's much bigger than the 4,000 bottles, I think, Greg. It's a close one, but there is no mention of anything around Aberlour that suggests that it's all from first fill casks. There's the feeling with this release that rather it just been batch after batch after batch and kind of a footnote of what the batch is with no other details along the lines of Aberlour, which, by the way, used to be 50, 60 pounds. It's much more expensive than that now. It's taken a big jump. And I remember a lot of complaints when that happened back in, I think, 2016 or 2017. This is a different animal. This is very heavily agonized over. Certainly that's what they will tell you at Glengoyne, but when you talk about it, you also get the feeling that that's what's happening as well. They're really proud of this release. And I have to say, batch 5 was seismic for me. I absolutely loved it. And I was used to being able to just to go up to Glengoyne and pick up one from the shelf. It seemed to be never ending to me. And then one day I turned up and there were none left. And that was it, literally gone. It's a distillery exclusive release. Glendronach batch 8 was £62, fair price, I would say. Yeah, that's not bad. And what kind of size, Alistair, is the release from the Glendronach batches? Just going to pour a wee drop. So the logoed glass has the batch 7, and the clear glass has the batch 6. We'll leave it there for a wee minute. And that's kind of what made me stop and decide that, okay, I've made my point. I've had my protest about this. I've had a whinge publicly, honestly, about the price jump from £90 to 120 for this now. It's a 33% jump in price. It's a big hike in price. But as I said at the opening of the show, and when I talk about other whiskies, I use the exact same measure. It's not really about that whiskey. It's about comparing that whiskey to its peers. It might be that it's been a very inexpensive or aggressively priced whiskey in order for it to get some traction out there in the marketplace. But inevitably comes the point where they actually have to charge what they feel the whiskey is actually worth. Is that the case with Glengoyne Teapot Dram? I'm not sure. It's a very anticipated release now. Kilted Moose Scott is here. Good to have you, Scott. He's saying, only ever bought one bottle of Teapot Dram, batch 2 back in 2014. Pretty sure I kept a wee sample. Must look back on his blog for his tasting notes. Scogsmart is saying, when does a price raise start to affect you? Does the amount of time a price has stayed fixed, factor, and accurate? That's my point, is that, so let's imagine that a new brand comes out to market and they're not really trading on any kind of track record or anything. They really have to grab our attention. So that they have to bring really good whiskey. They have to engage with us on a very kind of straight and honest level, and they have to price it well. They have to be fair and honest about it. So they're cutting margins, quite keen, whatever they can manage, that kind of thing, in order to gain some traction out there and get a bit of a reputation. And then hopefully they build that reputation, they bring the quality, they get us all talking about it to the point that we start to love the whiskey, and it's a good whiskey. It's established as such. And then perhaps at that stage, they are permitted to make a wee bit more money on it, perhaps. I'm not suggesting that that is the case. I'm putting it out there for discussion. When I start to perceive that maybe somebody's saying, okay, this isn't just about us making enough money anymore. We think the market can stand this price. That's when it's our job as the market to say, no, we won't stand that price, because we'll judge you against your peers. We'll judge you against the other experiences that we can buy at that exact same price level. That's our job, not just to blindly follow as fanboys of any distillery, or fangirls, if you like. We do need to stop and check ourselves. That's what I did with Teapot. And I looked to find where I could get this experience elsewhere for that money. And I have to be honest, bar the examples that's already been shared, I struggled, and I still find this to be a different experience from the examples that's been shared so far. Jimmy Leg is saying, when did actual sherry cask stop being sent to the UK? So that was a legislation for bulk shipping of sherry outside of Spain, came in the 1980s, Jimmy. So we haven't had the luxury of having those bulk casks. But one of the big things you have to remember is that the bulk casks that were shipping the sherry to the UK, as an example, they were transport casks. They're not literally taking a mature cask out of a bodega or a Solera system and putting it on a boat and giving us this fantastically old, mellowed, mature cask. They were very much coming to us. They were sitting in a bodega. They were going dockside in Spain. They were sitting on the boat, our dockside, in a warehouse somewhere, off to a bottling plant. It could be months that it could be in these transport casks. But these sherry casks were more often than not exactly that. Sherry casks. Yes, there are whiskies out there maturing in old bodega casks from dismantled Solera systems. But those are rare. That's not common. It tends to be casks made specifically for the purpose that we are using in Scotch whisky now. Eric Waite is saying, Aquavita, I agree 100%. I don't know if that's on the pricing, probably on the pricing, Eric, yeah. I am multi-mission is saying, Menno's saying IMD, it's Ian MacLeod Distillers are, I think, grabbing their momentum now that more people are noticing them, I think. Do you know, I know what you're saying there, but we have to be honest. 21-year-old Glengoyne is still £120. That is 43%. You can have a whinge at them for that. If anybody was going to be brave enough to ask tonight, I was going to pull up this one. This is their 15-year-old Tamdhu, which is 46%. I was so happy with this last year. I was tempted to give it my Whiskey of the Year. And people know that the three that was up there for Whiskey of the Year last year was the new RN18, this Tamdhu 15, and the Glendronach Revival 15-year-old for £62. Nothing to talk about. Wonderful stuff. Great value. But I was so excited about that Tamdhu 15, that presentation and the experience that it gave you, that I was ready. And it was a wee bit pricey for a 15-year-old. I think I paid £76 or £78. So it's up, punching around the prices of some 18-year-old whiskies. But it's everything from Tamdhu, and a lot of the stuff from Glengoyne is, of course, as we know, exclusively sherry cask, exclusively Oloroso sherry cask. So that's an expensive thing. So when you factor that in, their prices, it can be argued that their prices are not off kilter. Let me know what you think. Gregor is saying, I bought 4 batch 7 and lost one to the belly of an airplane. That's right, you did. He said it's great stuff, but it's definitely the uppermost I'd pay. Any more now, and I'll throw my hands up and say goodbye to the Teapot. Interesting. We have to remember that this is young whiskey. It's usually starting about 8 years old of that order is the youngest component that's in it. Yes, there's more mature stock that's in it. And I heard that there was as old as 14-year-old in this version. But what's interesting is it's at 59.9%. And there are some markets out there that you can't ship whiskey to if it's 60% or if it's over 60%. So I'm sure they wouldn't want to be putting any kind of demineralized water into this before they release it. So maybe they reached into some older stock to bring and tame that ABV down. Maybe that added a lot of complexity and richness and age and maturity into it, and maybe it added a wee bit of cost as well. I don't know these things. It would be interesting to ask people like Gordon and get their kind of their feedback on it and work out how they arrived at the price this time round and whether they feel that it's still worth it. Of course, they're going to say yes, but it would be interesting to hear them say why. Ben Demon Hunter is in. Good to see you. He's saying location, location, location. I'm 3 hours away from Banff. You're 5 minutes away from the Atlantic. How far away is Aquavitae from Glengoyne or any Scotch distillery? How many in 100 kilometres? Glengoyne for me is about half an hour, just over half an hour's drive. If I take public transport or something like that, it's considerably longer. I once walked to Glengoyne. Or rather, the Whiskey Rev and I did from north of Glasgow. But it's not too far. It's one of my closest distilleries. Dancing Midgie Glenn is saying Teapot for me is much better than the 21. You won't get an argument from me there. The 21 is very clean, very elegant, very easy and approachable, delicious. This is, you cannot easily enjoy this in company. The whiskey shouts louder than the people that you're with. This is very bold. It's very attention grabbing, and really it is a fairly unique thing in whiskey. That really rich. So there's lots of alcohol here. There is heat there. Okay, there's lots of ABV, but it's because of the cask strength nature of the whiskey. Past that, there's lots of jam and fruits, and the fruit is ripe and juicy. It's not tannic and dry and spiced, not on the nose. It's very inviting. You do just want to sip it. You feel the anticipation. So let's have a wee batch of batch 6. Sláinte, everyone. A wee sip, sorry, of batch 6. Sláinte. Honestly, it's great whiskey. It really is. There is grip and spice. There are some cooked fruits and dried fruits there, but it's a very juicy thing. It's bright and alive, so it's not all kind of cocoa and coffee, and it's not all leathery. And this is vibrant whiskey. This is bold. Okay, I've just opened this batch 7. It's just been opened tonight, so that we talk about the neck pour, whether you think it's a thing or not. I personally always never judge a whiskey on first pour. I think that the neck pour is very, very often a thing. But this is softer to me. Maybe just a smidge more approachable. But everything in line with the style, exactly as I've spoken about. The freshness often comes across a wee bit green. It's almost like a lick of spearmint or fresh, something vibrant and minty, something like that. I wouldn't expect to put this glass up to anybody and say, here, can you pick out the mint? They would think I was crazy. So I'm just trying to articulate how bright this whiskey is. If you've gone along in your whiskey journey long enough that you find yourself really enjoying high ABV cask strength whiskies, and you enjoy those whiskies neat or just with a wee drop of water in it, this whiskey is going to make you sit up and pay attention at every sip. It's very on par. It's very in line with previous batches of Teapot. But I would say that immediately just on that first sip, and it's my recollection of how I felt about the samples that I had previously, this batch 7 is a wee bit, it's a nudge better as well. Oh. So often for me, sherry cask whiskies can be something that you pour. Let's take a Glenfarclas 25. Let's take anything that's kind of rich and sherry heavy. You pour one and you sit with it for a while and you enjoy it. You savor every drop. But often for me, it's not one that I want to go back and pour another. It's like a single dram event. It's very full on and very rich. This is different. The youth in this, the vibrance, the texture on the palate, everything. When this disappears off the palate, the finish is long. It's very long. But when this disappears off the palate, you immediately want to replenish it. So I'm reaching for that word again, that word that came up recently, moreish. It is moreish. That's the spice, the grip, that's the ABV, that's the texture, it's the way it's making your gums tingle. And this is it's a visceral thing. It's very, very good at what it does. It's not mellow. It is rich. It's not integrated. It's one of those whiskies that you would sit with over the course of a night, and by the end of the evening you would be picking out remarkably different notes than you did at the start of the night, I think. The big thing is it £120? I paid it. So it doesn't matter what I say now, my actions have already spoken. But do I feel that it's delivered? Let me update you a wee bit further down the line. I think that I might be at a point now, if this continues to develop, and if I enjoy that as much as I enjoyed batch 5, where I got through about 3 bottles of batch 5 at least, maybe for batch 7 I would go back and buy a second. But let's see. Let's see. Jimmy Legacy, exactly. Only the old 80s Macallans were sherried whiskies I could drink a lot of. So maybe I'm not unique in that you know, you have one sherried whiskey and you're not really in a hurry to go and drink lots more. Eric Evanson is saying, what makes the Teapot so special? So it's recalling an old story, Eric, back in the old days of dramming. Everybody at the distillery, in order to discourage stealing, used to get given whiskey through the day. At Glengoyne, the practice was 3 times a day. And it was big pours of young, bold, powerful whiskey. And back in the day, it would all been going into a sherry cask. Some of these sherry casks would have been very active and very fresh sherry casks. So they would have been filling those casks, and throughout the day, dramming, they would have been dipping these casks and giving out what was really quite a youthful whiskey to their staff in order to encourage them not to steal. So some people would get these big drams poured. They were not little pours that we enjoy. They were decent big pours to get the blood flowing on cold days and yes, to keep their staff happy. We're going back to pre-1970s. But not everybody would take their drams. Some people would just take a wee sip or maybe not take any at all, but everybody encouraged everybody to take the ration. And the people that didn't want it would pour it into a copper teapot in the canteen, so that it meant for people that wanted to take extra throughout the day or whenever, they could go and reach for the teapot, the copper teapot in the Glengoyne canteen, and pour themselves a cup of tea. That's the story behind it. So how they've recreated this over 7 batches now is that they go into the warehouse and they have to take fresh, active, young, first fill Oloroso casks. Now, it can be smaller casks. Actually, I happen to know now that I'm talking about it, I know that it's a mix of American oak and European oak, because sometimes the casks are smaller casks. So it might be a sherry hogshead. It might be more likely it's going to be a standard American barrel, a smaller size, but it's going to be, am I speaking out of turn there? Or is it just sometimes I think they often use American oak. I don't think it's exclusively European oak. If I'm speaking out of turn, correct me in the chat if you know any better. I should have checked beforehand. But I think it's a mix, because I know that they're using mixed cask sizes. And what they're trying to do is bring together a young, bold and powerful whiskey that's different from all the other elegant, soft Glengoyne expressions that we know. Most of Glengoyne is at 43%. They're 10, they're 12. The old 15 used to be 43, I think. No, maybe it was 46, the 15. The 18 is 43. The 21 is 43. Once you hit the 25, you're at 48%. And I think the 30 is mid-40s as well. So it's all soft, elegant. So if you want a bold, powerful Glengoyne, you're buying the cask strength. That's a completely different animal to this, because this is exclusively ex-Oloroso. And it's not many casks at a time. These batches tend to be quite small. Like I said, I think this is the biggest batch to date, at almost 4,000 bottles, and it's only available from the distillery. Jimmy Legg is saying, how long do you hold an empty bottle over the glass to get the last drop? I just got 13 drops out of the end of my Timorous Beastie. Do what Ralphie does, tip it on its side and let it lie on its side so there's a little narrow channel of whiskey, so that when you tip it up, it's a wee bit more efficient. Good for you, Jimmy. Don't waste a drop. Ronald is saying, good to have you in, Ronald. I don't know if that's a new name. Teapot, batch 6, 4 sherry butts, 2 sherry hogshead, 8-year-old and 9-year-old. So the sherry hogsheads are going to be made from American oak. 10 first, Teapot 7 is 10 first fill European oak Oloroso casks, hogsheads and butts. So that's all from European oak. Oh, wow. Including 1 butt from 2005, which is the 14-year-old element in it. Okay, so there's a 14-year-old mixed with 10 other European oak Oloroso casks. Mix of hogsheads and butts. So it looks like, based on that theme, that they're all ex-European oak as well, which again makes it a little bit more rare. Skogsmard is asking, when does a price raise start to affect you? Does the amount of time a price has stayed fixed? I did answer that one, didn't I? Maybe you've asked again, Skogsmard. I did pick it up a wee bit earlier. I hope I answered it a wee bit earlier. This is Moorish. Cinnamon. It's quite aromatic, nice spice. It's so wee bit more tannic on the finish of batch 6 there. Kind of goes to black tea, slight bitter, orange rind. These are they are cracking whiskies. I still wish they were £90, don't we all? We all know that Glengoyne is going to sell out even at £120, and they are a business at the end of the day, and that's probably got so much to do with exactly why it's £120. No big mysteries. Helen is telling Jimmy Legg that she tries ringing it out. It's not going to work. It's not going to work very well. Okay, how are we got on for time? 10 past 11. I'm going to try and keep it neat tonight. I've got a busy working week ahead of me, and I know that the rest of you have as well. I'm still home teaching. We're just about still on speaking terms as a family. We're getting by day, but it's hard teaching your own children. Anybody that's trying it out there, my thoughts are with you. It's not easy. I need to learn new depths of patience. It's tricky. So let's get the quiz on the go. How many of you are tuning in tonight? Okay, 233 of you. I appreciate that that's going to drop quite quickly, but I encourage anybody that hasn't participated in a quiz before to hang around and have a chat. It's an easy quiz tonight. It's never easy. It's multiple choice. It's just a bit of fun. You don't need to announce your score. You can just play against yourself. Nobody else is keeping your score. There are no prizes. It's really just for a bit of fun. If any of my friends from Northern Ireland are still hanging around in the background, I'm going to pull those guys in as well. A Belfast Whisky Club has just joined and become part of the Aquavitae Barflies. You're very, very welcome. And I wonder if that's anything to do with our Paul Kane. I'm sure it is. So that means that the Belfast Whisky Club, you now have access to lots of emojis that can help colour the chat up a wee bit, especially when you're participating in the quiz at the end. It's good fun, and I hope you hang around and enjoy it. I'm going to see how my friends are doing here. Let's bring in Jim Ingram. Jim, brush the food out of your beard. Looking good. Paul, it's Phil I clicked on there. Phil, good to see you. Good to have you. Thanks for hanging around. Paul, good to have you hanging around to the end. All four of you are staying. Thank you, boys. Thank you so much for hanging around.
No bar.
Keep me company to the end. So, Paul, I don't know if you've participated in an Aquavitae quiz at the end before.
No, have not.
It is multiple choice. You don't need to share what your score is or how you're doing. It's one of those things, be raucous in victory and humble in defeat, I suppose, right?
Of course.
And we'll try and see how it's going. I honestly have no perception whether it's an easy quiz tonight or not. You know what it's like. I'm going to take stick for it regardless. I wish everybody the best of luck.
Yeah,
and I wish you boys the best of luck as well. I'll reach out to you from time to time and ask how you're getting on. Anthony is suggesting that it's going to be 10 banana peels tonight. I think you'll be okay, Anthony. Let's see how you get on. Okay, question one, everybody. Good luck. Which of these is Scotland's longest continually producing distillery?
Really sweet. So,
Oh,
barley sugar.
I've got somebody's audio coming through talking about barley sugar. Who's that from?
Well,
Not me.
now the deeper
Not me.
you go,
Is that Alan?
get some.
Yeah, sounds like him.
Somebody's audio is coming through. It's gone now.
It must be me, yeah.
Which of these is
I'm in a wee
Scotland's
word of me.
longest continually producing distillery? Is it A, Glenturret, B, Bowmore, or C, Strathyla? So, of course, I'm talking about distilleries that haven't had significant closures. Obviously, most distilleries closed during wartime. There's various things, but I'm speaking about distilleries that were never mothballed. And I've gone for the three oldest distilleries in Scotland that are currently in operation, but I'm asking you which is the oldest continually in production. Phil, have you got any idea? You're having a beard scratch there and having a think about it. I'm not asking for an answer. Just let me know if you're confident or not.
Well, I'm not confident at all. I'm never confident in these quizzes, Roy. I am always hovering around the 5 or 6 mark on this, to be fair.
Well, that's a pass mark, Phil. You only need to hit 5 to get a pass mark, so that's good enough.
Phil and I talked about this.
Sorry.
Phil and I talked about this earlier on, as we says, one, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and the rest of the time you just follow Whiskey Jason. Follow Whiskey Jason.
No.
There are a few people in the crowd that are super, super sharp at this. They're really knowledgeable. And sometimes you think they're following the other people, but no, they're in early as well. So Whiskey Jason, in fact, I'm not going to tell you what he's suggested it is. I'm just going to ask you, what's the oldest continually operational? Let's go on and just ask Jim. What would you be guessing for this one, Jim?
A.
You think it's Glenturret? Yes. I'm going to tell you that it's actually Strathyla.
Wow.
Yeah. Strathyla is the longest. I think the year is 1785 or something. Now, Little Mill used to be cited that Little Mill was the oldest, right? 1772 or something. There are lots of 18th century distilleries out there, of which Bowmore and Glenturret are 2 of them. But Strathyla is, while it's the youngest of those 3, it's the oldest that's been in continual operation. Bit of an asshat question, as Jimmy Legg would say, if I'm honest. So let's start as we mean to go on. Question 2. When Kilchoman opened in 2005, how many years previous was the last distillery opening on Islay? Was it 97 years? Was it 124 years? Or was it 140 years? Now, I'm excluding Malt Mill. Malt Mill opened in 1908 inside the Lagavulin distillery and closed down in the 60s. I'm excluding that distillery, obviously. I'm speaking about a distillery on its own site in its own right. How many years? Kilhoman opened in 2005. How long had it been since Isla had seen?
124 years.
Who said that?
Me.
Paul,
I'm
Paul
going for that.
thinks it's 124.
Yeah.
Let's. Alan, have you any idea? Would you know?
I would say 97.
97. Okay. Jim, would you disagree with
I
Alan?
would actually stick with Al. I'm thinking, was it like Kalila or something like that?
Right, and Phil?
I'm going with Paul. I think it's 124.
Okay. Bonus points to Paul and Phil for getting it right. Can they tell me? Oops. 120. Any idea what distillery that would be?
I'm thinking, is it?
Is it? It's not Brooklady, is it? No, it's not Brooklady.
Absolutely, it could be. It's either Brooklady or Bunnahabhain. They were both founded in 1881.
1881.
Yeah. And then 124 years later, along comes Kilhoman, and we've now seen Ardnahoe as well. Chief Francis is having a whinge at me. He's on 0. Anybody? Des is on 2 out of 2. Welcome in, Des. Good to see you again. Let's roll into question 3. Well done, guys. Which of these distilleries actually has its mash room and fermentation carried out in another distillery? Is it A, Kinninvie, B, Nakandu, C, Inchgower?
But
What we're
physically,
talking about is the mash and the fermentation being prepared. Obviously, it has to be very, very, very close by.
big fan of A. Big fan of A.
Well, Paul is keen to suggest that it's Kinninvie. Let's see what the crowd think. McAllen Finer
I
Rares.
go with Paul there. I haven't a clue.
Just give it a guess, Al. Just see your best. Throw a dart.
Well, because Paul, I appreciate Paul. I like Paul. So I go with Paul.
Come on.
Go with Paul.
That's me just blowing smoke, you know.
Jay Francis is saying he's not having a go at
And if
me.
you're wrong, Paul,
I can't get them all right. I don't know if that's right. I can't get them all right. Sure.
you have to get them all right. You're the man.
I have to say that it's split the crowd a little bit, but the vast majority seem to be going for A, Kinninvie as well. And I have to say, well done, Paul. It's absolutely Kinninvie. Kinninvie is basically, I know that they're spending a lot of money on it just now.
They are
at the minute. But it's if you've ever seen Kinninvie, it's kind of a huge windowed tin shed out the back, and they pipe in the wash and they distill it out in the tin shed out the back. My experiences of tasting whiskey from Kinninvie as a single malt has been very, very positive. I wish we could see more of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Question 4. What was replaced new for old at Craigellachie in 2014 in order to preserve their signature character?
Money.
Was it A, their worm tubs, B, their spirit stills, or C, their open cast iron mash tun? It's getting a wee bit geeky tonight. Now, maybe it's because I knew the Northern Irish crowd was coming in. I don't think so. When I put this quiz together, I didn't have you guys in mind. I was just frantically pulling questions as I was setting up this afternoon.
Because we're playing a blinder right now.
How are you scoring, Jim? How are you scoring so far at 3?
1.
1 out of 3. Oh,
That's Paul told me the answer.
Well, there you go.
I would go for B.
Al is saying that they just replaced the spirit stills like for like, new for old.
That was my
Honestly,
I've just uploaded my
Huh?
I've just uploaded my latest review, and I think I might have to delete my YouTube channel after this.
Listen, don't worry about it at all, Alan. Honestly, if I had to take my own quiz, I would be embarrassed.
No, I'm only joking. It's like
Jimmy Legg.
Jimmy
Legg is asking a good thing. He's saying, Jimmy Legg is saying, what was the other distillery for the Kinninvie question? It's Balvenie. Jimmy, I apologise. I should have said that. Yeah, the fermentation and the mashing is done. Now it's nothing. They don't do it inside the Balvenie vessels. Kinninvie has its own mash tun. It's separate. Its own fermentation vessels separate, but it's done inside the Balvenie distillery. Okay, guys. Paul, any clue on this one? Are you just guessing this one?
Yeah, no, I guessed this one. I'm 3 from 3, and I think I've got this one wrong. I went for the spirit stills, and I do think that is wrong. But you know what? That is a guess because, quite frankly, I thought we were going to talk about the money. I thought they bumped the price up. They bumped the price up.
It did. It is a Phil's celebrating. It is their worm tubs. Now, what I have to say is that all they did is that they replaced iron for steel. They took away the iron, but they replaced it with steel. But they put the copper worms back in. And if we know Craigellachie, we know it's got that really heavy, weighty, oily style. That's what they wanted to preserve. And they put that down in no small part to the worm tubs. So if you answered A, give yourself a point as we go on to the picture question. And it's a contribution tonight. It's not one of my own. This was sent in by Anthony Butler. This is a distillery. You are looking at a distillery, and yes, it's a Scotch whisky distillery. I'm going to ask you, which Scotch whisky distillery are you looking for? It can't be many.
Was it a Speyside?
A, are we looking at Avon Jap in Lewis? B, are we looking at Eden Mill in the Lowlands? Or C, Wolfburn in the Northern Highlands?
Jesus.
Haven't a clue, lads.
I have no clue. Wolfburn. C.
I'm going Eden Mill.
Sounds like Paul is just shouting out guessing. That's fine. That's fine. That's fair enough. Even the chimps can score 1 and 3, right?
Oh.
Well, you've got a bottle of Wolfburn. What's the Wolfburn you've got there, Paul?
It's the Lang skip.
How'd you get on with it?
Share on it.
Yeah, do you know what? I actually quite liked it. Obviously, still very young stuff. Do you know what I mean? But this is This is 55%. Yeah, there's not much left of it, but it's
heavily peated as well. Yeah,
58%. 58%. A hell of a lot of alcohol on it, and that probably made this spirit better than what it was. Just the alcohol content more than anything else, to be frank.
I can tell you as well that you're absolutely spot on saying it's real. So this question is his name has just slipped off a screen there because of the cropping, but Andrew Butler's name, and he's in tonight. Good to see you, Andrew. Thanks for sending in the picture. I thought it was interesting. What's really famous about Wolfburn as well is that they managed to build the distillery in a record. I think it was 6 or 8 weeks over the course of a winter one year. But when you look at the building, you can work out perhaps why. But yeah, and I think if you're after a nice heavily peated hit, I think it brings all its power at a young age. So, you enjoy a peated whiskey, Paul?
I do, and you know, I think it's. I think I've tasted 3 or 4 expressions from the very first. I think it's going to be good whiskey going forward, and I genuinely do believe that. Maybe not as exciting as Kilchoman, but it's exciting going forward. 100%.
Well, I think it's going to be exciting in the fact that it's coming from the Northern Highlands and it isn't Kilchoman itself. That's good to hear. It's good to hear that you're enjoying that one as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll on to question 6 and ask Blanton's Bourbon is from Buffalo Trace and named after, this is an asshat question, strap in boys, A, Colonel Albert B. Blanton, B, Captain Andrew S. Blanton, or Senator Alexander T. Blanton. There is a real person that Blanton from Buffalo's Trace was named after. It's just been named, I think it was Forbes named it the best bourbon that you can buy right now. It's the single barrel bottle with a wee horse on the top.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Everybody seems to really enjoy it. It's splitting the crowd, although the vast majority seem to think that it's Colonel Albert Blanton.
Is that a bit of an asshat, Roy, because of the Colonel Taylor?
Well, I'll come to that in a minute. It's interesting. Anthony is shouting that he actually knows this one, and I can tell you that Anthony has answered the same as you guys and said A.
Yeah,
there we go.
And the reason that it's Colonel is not necessarily because of any military career that he had. In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, they honour their citizens for achievement with that title, and that's how Albert Blanton became a colonel. So there you go.
Colonels and Commodores.
I'm big into my bourbon. I love bourbon. Oh God.
You love bourbon?
At least I've got I love bourbon, and this is at least I've got 2 right now.
2. Good man. Well done, Alan. Question 7. Scott
True.
Bruno of the Scotch Test Dummies famously had a moment on video with a Bunnahabhain gifted by me. Quite a self-indulgent question here, but I think it's a fantastic reaction to see. And I think the reason that I bring this up is that kind of extra added quality that we can all enjoy in these days where there's a video explosion, because we can actively see people's reactions to whiskey on video. And I think that there's something very human about that. But if you've not seen this video where he tries this, I've put a screenshot in here. It's really fascinating to go back and see him try and comprehend what he's tasting. But which Bunnahabhain was it? Was it A, the Fashil 2018 Moinho Oloroso? Was it B, the 32-year-old Palo Cortado? Or C, the Fashil 2019 Sauterne? Now, we all know what Scott Bruno from the Scotch Test Dummies likes, what he enjoys in a whiskey. But this one set his little world alight.
I feel bad because I never saw it, but I really want to try the first one. So
I think
I'm
it's going to be A,
guess the first one.
the heavily peated.
So I'm going to guess that.
Yeah.
You mentioned it recently,
I'm
Roy.
gonna
I
guess
don't know
A as
whether
well.
it's A or C.
I should know this because I watch all the videos, but I can't remember.
It was a wee while ago, but it was such a kind of visceral reaction to the whiskey that it was really marked. And while Scott's having this head in his hands moment in this meltdown, Bart is in the background looking off to the distance going, this is why I love Scotch whiskey. It was really quite a moment to see. Okay, so everybody's
I'll
guessed
still say
A. The whole entire crowd think that it's A as well. And absolutely it is A. 2018
takes a guess.
Moinho Oloroso.
Yes, 3.
Come on.
Look at this for a screenshot. And that's at that point, I think just after that, he says, good God, Bart, you're going to need to lock this down, otherwise it's been home with me. So there you go. Fantastic stuff. That's why video.
Guys don't miss each other.
Now look at my spelling mistake here. Dofton. I can't even spell my own name. That's the mistake you make when you put together quizzes in a hurry and you don't check them beforehand. Obviously, I'm speaking about Dufton, was famously built on 7 stills. But which distillery was there first? Which is the oldest? A, Glenfiddich, B, Dufton, or C, Mortlach?
Oh.
Dufftown. No clue. Total guess B, Dufftown.
Oh, Glenn. Oh.
I'm taking a step back here and going for Mortlach.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I wasn't
Mortlach.
sure about this one, but it's splitting the crowd as well. I thought the crowd would know this.
I'm gonna go for Mortlach.
There was Dufton took its time to get started as a distilling town.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You know, it wasn't one of the ones that was there forever, but it quickly caught up. Pittyveich, I think Parkmore is in Dufton as well. A couple of lost distilleries there. Grants have 3 right next door to each other just by themselves. Anybody want to guess? Phil, give us a guess, big guy.
I'm going for Mortlach.
Okay. And who guessed Dufton?
Alan.
Alan guessed
Yes,
Dufton.
B. Yep.
Alan, I have to tell you that
Yes.
Dufton was once upon a time known as Mortlach.
Yes, get in there. Get in there.
Oh, jeez. I have no clue. This is what I love about this whiskey business. You can learn so much more than
and you get it rubbed in by your buddy there in Belfast. Look at that reaction. That's raucous and victory right there. Danny,
He's not my body. He's Scottish by origin.
Danny is saying that
Cheers, Al.
Danny's reflecting on Scott's
I know
reaction
worries.
to that
Cheers,
screenshot.
cheers, mate.
I'm going to need to mute you guys. Jesus. Danny is reflecting on his everyday dealings with Bart and puts the Scott's reaction down to that. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah,
Question 9 seconds from last. Which of these distilleries is located furthest east? Out comes the asshat questions now. Because you're visualising that map of Scotland, aren't you, in your head? But I'm asking you, is it Brewdog and Ellen in Aberdeen? Is it St George's in Norfolk? Or is it Glenarmore in France? Which of those distilleries is furthest east? I apologise.
Jesus.
I could cheat, but I'll say C.
Glenarmore. No, come on. That's not
I'm not going to cheat.
I'll say
How would,
I
you
think
cheat, how would you cheat, Alan? Get up Google Maps real quick.
B. I like
I
B.
think it's
I can't because I'm holding the phone in my hand.
Exactly.
I'm holding the phone in my hand.
This is heavily.
And,
Luna Aaron is in.
Surrey hates me. Alexa likes me. Surrey hates me. Surrey's here. Alexa's in the kitchen.
If you have the same trouble with Siri with a Northern Irish accent as I do with Siri having a Glaswegian accent, then it makes for some comedic moments, let me tell you.
Jesus.
Okay, Paul, can I get a guess out of you? What would you think so furthest?
No, I went for B. I went for B, and only because my geography is really, really bad, and I think that I thought Glanamore would have been further west in France, and I assumed that England kind of pokes its wee arse out into the east a little bit further than part of Scotland. So that's
excellent deduction, superb.
Come on!
Yeah, there is a chance that distilleries in France could be further east, but Glenarmore, the Gaelic Whiskey Company, or the Celtic Whiskey Company, sorry, I do apologise, they are right up in the northwest corner of France. And Norfolk does stick, as Paul said, its arse out a wee bit further east than all of Scotland, and that's exactly what makes that distillery the furthest east. Let's see what the scores are with one question to go. Marku is doing well on 8 out of 9. I'm looking for anybody that's looking for a 10 out of 10 tonight. Is there any? Desi on 8 out of 9 as well. Superb Desi. Mark Slinger 7. Whiskey Jason on 5 tonight. Whiskey Jason, I'm going to lose a friend in Germany. Jesus. Mikey Hayes on 7. Philip Eagleton is on 7. Jimmy Jazz is in late and he's only on 1 out of 1. Welcome in, Jim. And I hope you pick it up on the replay. Lindsay Holman 6. Orange Wool 9 out of 9. Superb Orange Wool. Well done. Great score. Let's see if we've got Des on 9 out of 9 as well. Great score. So there's at least a couple of people in good shape. And I have to say, I've put one of the easiest ever 10th questions in I've put in for a long time. I could be telling fibs. Question 10. Which of these featured as part of the original 6 classic malts from 1988? We're looking for one of these as part of the original, and 2 were not. A. Oban 14, B. Cardew 12, C. Clynelish 14. Which of those were part of the original classic malts? Of course, they are all part of the extended classic malts now. But I want to know which one of those was part of the original. The crowd start to throw in their answers to what I think is a pretty easy question to finish on. Probably guaranteeing Orange Wool and Des.
I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of it.
I'm a big fan of it.
I'd say yes.
If it was there.
How much time have you spent with Clynelish, Alan?
No, I think B is too obvious. C is even more obvious. It has to be A. But then I'm...
Okay, let's have a wee look.
I don't know.
The crowd have absolutely kicked this out the park. They all know, with very few exceptions, that it is, in fact, Oban 14.
Oh.
Big Al.
Did I win the group? Did I win the group here? I get 9 out of 10.
I got 8 out of 10, Paul.
7 out of 10.
Paul, you're full of shit.
How did you score?
9 out of 10.
I got, what did I get, 6 or 7 or something like that.
Number 4 wrong. Got number 4 wrong. That annoyed me.
Well done, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for participating. Please stay around till the end. Even after I kill the stream, we can have a hangout, raise a wee glass, drain whatever we've got left, and just let me say thank you for participating tonight. I hope you've had a wee bit of fun tonight, and it's been a pleasure for me to welcome in the boys from Northern Ireland. And Paul as well, I wish you the very best for everything that's happening in July. I hope it goes ahead.
Thank you very much.
If I can do anything for you or the club, please reach out. I love getting people together in real life. It's why the channel exists. The Barflies Facebook group exists for that sole reason, and it's super frustrating for us all right now, where we've all got our wings clipped a wee bit. But I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight, and thank you so much for coming in.
You too, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Great stuff. Wonderful stuff. Thank you so much. You're such a knowledgeable crowd. You all know so much, so very, very well. Anybody that was following the chat tonight would have done really well in that quiz. Well done to everybody out there. Terry Dolan, he's also a I've met Terry a couple of times, a great guy. Northern Irishman as well. Terry, why didn't I think of you when we did the Northern Irish crowd? We have to get you in as part of the Whiskey Tribe crowd. That's where you'll be involved, Terry. Fantastic, my friend. Thanks for your virtual dram as well. I'll raise what I've got left of this wee bit of teapot dram. I'm going to have to pour a wee bit more, actually. I've now made a wee blend of what I've got left of batch 6 in the glass, and I've poured a wee dribble of batch 7 in it. Still a single malt. Terry, thank you so much for your drama, friend Slancher. Everwind is saying fair winds all, and thanks. Everwind, I'm glad that I caught you in tonight. I've often caught your name participating in this, and sometimes I miss it and I don't get a chance to welcome you in. It's great to have you, my friend. Jimmy Legg is saying, this was fun. Yep, sure was. Thanks, Aquavite. Let's keep it rolling. Jimmy, I'm sure you would stay here and to be the absolute last guy to leave the pub. It's fantastic to have you in, Jimmy. Richie Z is saying, great live. My highest personal score of a quiz yet. Richie, that always makes for a good vPub when you do well in the quiz. Absolutely well done to you. I'm trying to check if our guys, Orange Wool and Des, managed their 10 out of 10. Now, they've both got access to the 10 out of 10 emoji, I think. They're both members of Barflies. Des is using the emoji, absolutely scored 10 out of 10. Excellent. Taking home the celebrations tonight. Orange Wool, I'm not seen yet. I'm not seeing Orange Wool yet. I'm searching. Orange Wool did get 10 out of 10. Well done, guys. Well done, both of you. Superb. That means, of course, that if you so choose, you can contribute some questions to the quiz. I can't guarantee that I'll use them, but they may inspire another question, or I may be able to take them right out. Helen is saying that she scored her best ever tonight, 9 out of 10. So maybe it wasn't that bad a quiz. Skogsmard is saying, why are ex-bourbon casks common in Scotch but not ex-rye? Both bourbon and rye require new oak casks, so both produce used casks. Why aren't Scotch distilleries using those? Some do, Skogsmard, some do. But I have to say, I'm very grateful for bourbon casks. It's become my favourite style, that serendipitous thing where the sherry cask thing dries up and we've automatically got something there in relatively plentiful supply that does very, very well at maturing Scotch whisky. I'm grateful to have it. Looks like somebody else has bought me Phil at Cosby Coast Whiskies bought me a dram, said, cheers for having us and keep up the good work. Phil, thank you so much. You're a gentleman. Slancher, my friend. And Espen over in Norway said 6 out of 10. Not bad. Good night, guys. It's a good pass mark and a solid score, Espen. Nice to have you in, and thank you for the drama, friend Slancher. Hoyt is saying he enjoyed. Nice to have you in, Hoyt. Always a pleasure. Paul Gibbs was in as well. 7 out of 10. Well done. Che is saying cheers all. Good night to you as well, Che. John Della Cuisine. Stefan Novak also got 10 out of 10. Stefan, I didn't even spot Stefan's quiz. Was up a couple of quizzes ago. All the questions were contributed by him. He scored 10 out of 10 previously as well. Excellent score, Stefan. Well done. Stu Baby saying, thanks, Roy. Love the Irish crew. Fun times. Under 2 hours too. I always try and keep it neat on a Sunday. I hope you'll all forgive me for it as well. Luke is saying, shout out to all the frontline workers. Grateful to you, Roy, for keeping this awesome vPub going. Luke, you're one of those guys, and I do have to raise a glass to you. I know you're going out to work every single day when the rest of us are getting frustrated and complaining about being bored, exhausted, fed up, whatever it may be, just by staying at home and being asked to be a wee bit patient. Let's raise a wee glass to everybody that's lifting themselves up every morning and get out into difficult environments with half the staff they would normally have. Sometimes in the case of our healthcare services, half the equipment. Let's not get political. And say thank you all. I think about you daily. I've said it before, and I do, and I appreciate everybody that makes it easy for me to stay at home and sit on my couch. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Luke. Slancher. Orange Will is saying, great job, Roy. Thank you so much, Orange Will. vPubs are a ray of light in these times. I'll keep bringing them as long as you keep enjoying them and then hanging out here. Honestly, I feel I have to pinch myself sometimes that people could really enjoy coming along and hanging out with me of an evening. It's an absolute privilege and for me to be able to bring this to you. And I'm very glad it brings any kind of entertainment. A ray of light is actually a big bonus. Jimmy Legacy, looking forward to May 9th, Roy. Exciting. May 9th, What have I promised on the 9th of May? The Lockdown Whiskey Festival. Yes, I'll tease that more on Thursday. The second Lockdown Whiskey Festival is on Saturday, May 9th. I'll be looking forward to hosting that as well. And I hope to welcome you in there. Graham Horner is saying, great quiz. Would love to meet up next time you're in Northern Ireland for all things whiskey when this blows over. So there's somebody else from Northern Ireland, Graham. Didn't even appreciate that that's where you were located. Thank you so much for your drama friend, Slancher. I'm going to say thank you to everybody for joining me tonight. I'll be back again for a regular vPub on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. It's very bourbon themed on Thursday. The handsome couple that is Jad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night in the States. A very big channel doing great things, fantastic production quality, easy to watch, really entertainment, building a fantastic community as well. They have laid out a flight of bourbons, and they're going to lead me through it on Thursday night and try and get me a bit more excited about some of the whiskey coming out of America. I hope you've got some interest in that, and I look forward to welcoming you there on Thursday night for a regular vPub. And of course, I'll try my very best to be here next Sunday night for you as well. Thank you all for participating tonight. Wonderful participation. And I thank you all. You're wonderful people. I love you all. Slancha, and I'll see you very, very soon. Cheers.